On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, we welcome all the participants in today's webcast on More Than a Logo, the real skills behind great brands. We welcome to our today's resource person, CA Nakul Arora, and our Chairman, Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, CA Jay Chera, into this session. And we also welcome to all the participants present over here. With this, right now I am inviting this committee's chairman, CA Jay Chera, to this session and request him to address the gatherings.
Thank you very much, Dr. Sambit Kumar Mishra ji. A very good evening to all of you friends, all my CA colleagues, friends. Professional Skills Enrichment Committee is a very significant committee and plays a very vital role. While chartered accountants have been getting the benefits of committees like direct tax committees, indirect tax committees, international tax committees, and all these committees have been helping the chartered accountants, developing the chartered accountants, guiding the chartered accountants, enlightening the chartered accountants for many years. Maybe I believe that if one develops himself only in terms of domain expertise, then it is a lopsided development. Along with domain expertise, one very crucial thing is the skill set, various skills. These skills would make you leader. A leader does not only possess knowledge, but he has certain skills. First and foremost, the vision, visualization skills. He can look at in an abstract environment something more concrete, what probably others cannot. And very, very crucial, similarly, interpersonal skills. And many other skills, of course. This webinar series is all about various such type of skills. And we have, during this particular council year, a target of more than such 100 webinars on all the various topics related to skills, which we feel that chartered accountants must, definitely work upon. Friends, along with the skills, another very important thing is attitude. As it is said, skill set and will set. Both are very much essential. Today, we have come up with a very, very interesting topic. Friends, generally, we see chartered accountants in the programs where we discuss capital gains, search and seizure, reverse chart mechanism. I believe rarely it so happens that the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India uh, takes up such type of topics like branding and logo. So today we have a very, very beautiful topic, a very wonderful topic at the same time, a very wonderful speaker, uh, Nakul Arora ji, who is going to enlighten us, where he is going to explain how branding matters to a chartered accountant, is specific focus to chartered accountant, logos, what is the impact or what is the importance of that, and that is how you should strategize for your, highlighting your firm, strengthening or consolidating your firm. Friends, let me start. Nakulji, I'll put it in a very, very simple way. Very simple way. Even if you look at, you are an expert in this field. I may not be so good at it, but with my limited understanding, what I believe, let me put it this way. Even if you look at a kid of 6 months or 12 months or 18 months, whatever the case may be, I think females can make out that better. Even if you look at it, he will like to go to a person whose face he recognizes. If you have met him 4, 5, 10 times, then there are better chances of his coming to you. Similarly, you have to keep on meeting him. If there is a long break and thereafter you approach him, probably he is not willing. Is it not the same with customers and clients? Now, this is analogy I want to put up. Even a small kid would like to go only to recognized faces, not new faces. Similar is the customers, similar is the clients. Any customer, any client definitely would like to move to something what he recognizes, which he has seen number of times. And I repeat, if there is long gap, there are chances he may come out of it. So here comes the very importance of logo, the very importance of branding. And Nakulji will be happy to know that the Institute of Chartered Accounts of India has started discussing about this particular aspect, uh, whether we should allow chartered accountants to develop their own logos. Well, I personally believe, yes, this exercise should be done. It should be allowed. But of course, council in its all wisdom, considering the Chartered Accountants Act regulations, considering all other aspects, global practices, and whatever, other deliberations take place, it will come to a conclusion. But I believe, yes, logos are very important. Once again, in a lighter vein, I would put it, Nakulji, many years back the song was there, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे. After that, लोगों का काम है कहना. So logos, they speak about it. Your logos speak about it. Your brands speak about it. I'll just give a very simple example. Very simple example. And this is very important, there is a beautiful book by Jack Trout, Differentiate or Die, and which says that it is very, very essential that you differentiate yourself from others. And here comes the importance of branding and logo. And because there are emotions attached with brands, and there are some few significant aspects, subtle, connected with the brands. Let me put it up. Automobile market. If you look at market, have you seen an advertisement, friends, chartered accountant friends, have you seen an advertisement in which the car company says that, we have so and so BHP engine with so and so acceleration, so and so this? No, 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 they don't say that. They subtly convey with the logo, with the brand. If it is Toyota, maybe reliability. If it is Maruti, it is economy. If it is Volvo, it is safety. If it is Mercedes, it is status. If it is BMW, it is driving pleasure. If it is Ferrari, it is speed. So, just look at it, how interesting it is. Similarly, look at the soap market. Well, Nakulji, I believe if soaps would have changed our complexion, then probably the entire world would have changed. But then, if you look at the soap market, once again, just look at it. Maybe Liril or Synthol will say freshness, and maybe Lux would differentiate film Sitaro ka Saundarya Sabun, maybe attaching with the some of the celebrities, or maybe Dove, which talks about moisturizing something, and maybe Lifebuoy or Dettol talking about Kitanu se right, maybe on that. So it's very, very essential. Friends, we have to understand one thing. In a perfect competition, the most crucial thing is products are identical, homogeneous, and in such cases, nobody earns. You will earn only a reasonable amount, normal profit. Normal profit means you don't get anything extra. Only to the extent of your efforts, you get it. You don't get any premium. So if you want to break that monopoly, then the nearest market would be monopolistic competition, where the most crucial thing is differentiation. Even look at Bollywood or Hollywood or Tollywood, whatever would you like. Just look at it. Nakulji, I just thought about it a few years back. How Rajnikant is such a super actor. Well, that was differentiation. That was a brand. Many years back, what Rajnikant could do, only Rajnikant could do. Other actors would not fit into such type of role. That was differentiation. He knew very well he had his SWOT analysis. What are his strengths as well as weaknesses, and how he can take up some opportunities. He could understand what type of movies he should do. So he took up the route of stunts, such type of stunts which would not suit other actors. So, say 3 decades back, what Rajnikant did, I'm sure the other actors, Vinod Khanna or Amitabh Bachchan, I am more about Bollywood, so I cannot make out other things. So they would not try to, venture out such type of things. Today, of course, in Tollywood also and Bollywood, everybody is copying him. So here comes differentiation. So we chartered accountants also have to understand that. This is very crucial. It is about differentiated products, services. It's about creativity. Imaginative campaigning is something very important. See, it is not only about sales. branding, many people believe it is about sales only. No, it is not just sales. It is about creating the awareness and long-term sustainability, right? It is about creating the goodwill in the eyes of the users of the service. Even though you do not want to add any new customer, even though you are sitting at the best position, still branding is required because that branding gives you the assurance to the users of your service about the quality by way of branding, by way of making such statements, vision, mission, and strategy statements, or by making logos and all integrated, you are conveying the world what you stand for, right? What are your value systems? So I think this is so very simple. And when it comes to branding, for chartered accountants, it is very crucial to develop the personal branding. If we are not differentiated, then you can just understand there is going to be undercutting. But if you are differentiated, maybe in terms of drafting, maybe in terms of presentation, maybe in terms of persuasive communication, maybe many other aspects, then well and good. For sure, you are going to be a distinct chartered accountant. This is very crucial. And here, with the social media and all these things, the concept that has been coined these days is thought leadership. Thought leadership is a fantastic way of branding for chartered accountants. So, in nutshell, what just I wanted to put up was many aspects: your strategy, your presentation, your branding, your logo, all these things taken together in an integrated way, in a long run, with a proper strategy, would surely create a very positive impact, will help you in sustaining the business, even in scaling up, and at the same time, providing even psychological benefits to the users of your service where they will be. Because we know we chartered accountants, the service that we provide, many times the users of the service don't understand. For them, audit report is just audit report. So it is only through branding and all. For example, some products we purchase only with an assurance. If this is the brand, okay, this will be good quality. I think same our chartered accountants can also explore. So we have a very fantastic topic, and much more than that, a very fantastic speaker, Nakul Arora ji, who is going to deliberate in detail. He is going to deliver in detail on this particular topic, and I'm very sure those who have joined today, they will definitely come out with some one or two very important points he has taken up. He must be taking many points, but one or 2 points, accepting them and working upon them, shall surely elevate them in their practice, in their industry, in their professional life, and why only professional life, personal life too. With this, thank you very much, Sambitji, for being the very important part of this committee and helping us in organizing all these programs. Thank you very much, Bhavi, for being a part of this particular program, being the moderator of this particular program. And Nakulji, more important to you, taking up this very interesting topic, a very innovative topic, which generally, chartered accountants make some chartered accountants think it is alien, but these are very important. And we have to ensure that in our chartered accountants fabric, this has to come like warp and weft. So thank you very much. And back to you. Bhavi, you may take it over further.
Thank you so much, sir. Sir, it is so awesome always to listen you. Today we are excited to listen actually Nakul sir, because it is his topic today, more than a logo, real skills behind the great brands. But Jay sir, you are always awesome to listen. It's like how the times fly when you are speaking, and specifically when you are speaking new things. So sir, it's great to listen you once more. Now, ICA Bhavi Thakkar, on behalf of Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, welcome presently all the participants and CA Nakul Arora ji, today's speaker for our session. Before giving him the chance to elaborate us about the topic, I would like to give a small introduction about CA Nakul Arora ji. CA Nakul Arora ji isn't just a chartered accountant, he is a leader, a communicator, and a highly sought after education in the fields of finance. His impressive credentials speaks volumes. A member of the prestigious Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, CA Arora ji boasts a rigorous training in accounting, auditing, taxation, and financial management, even earning exemptions in strategic financial management, a testament to the exceptional aptitude and dedication But CA Aroraji's expertise extends far beyond the theoretical. He is highly accomplished speaker, having delivered over 600 sessions on technical topics ranging from professional standards and taxations to business analytics. He is equally adept to communicating soft skills, having conducted more than 350 sessions on interpersonal communication and leadership, showcasing his ability to connect with the audiences on behalf of technical and personal levels. His personal capacities are equally impressive. As a founder and managing partner of his own firm of chartered accountants, he's not only built a successful business, but also actively contributes to the broader accounting community by leading ICAI conferences and debating groups. This demonstrates how commitment to fostering professional growth and intellectual discourse within the field. So, Sia Arora ji, I would like to introduce you to the speaker as a speaker today. And finally, C. A. Aroraji's dedication to education is evident in his numerous contributions to online platforms, sharing his knowledge and expertise freely, helping the upliftment of accounting profession. He's just imparting knowledge, he's fostering a growth mindset in the audience, and he has been working in the diverse range of prominent organizations, including Barco, Visit Health, Policy Bazaar, One Card, Savills, Saxo Bank, Hilton Group, Rockwell Mosaic, and Max Life, showcasing his adaptability and expertise in various sectors. Sir, I am very much delighted to introduce you to today's speaking as a speaker, and we would now like to hear more about on this topic from you. Now over to C. Nakul Aroraji.
It was a pleasure to listen to you. It was a pleasure to have such a vivid introduction for myself. And I begin with giving my warm regards to the chairman of the committee in presence, C.A. Jayasharya, and the vice chairman in absentia, and of course the secretary, Dr. Sambit Kumar Mishra ji. Of course, beginning with what we have learned so far, we have already heard C. Jayasharya ji telling us about branding, as far as he's almost covered up the motto and he has set the stage right for the topic of the day. Absolutely, to begin with, in the beginning of his deliberation, he began with using the word that brands are just like people. But brand to a business is just like reputation is to a human being. And just like people, when they talk about people, when we say somebody is a great person, we say his thoughts are great. He's a thought leader. He's got good thoughts. Similarly, for business, the word changes to vision. So the thoughts and the word becomes vision. Now, I would like to bring you across, and just while the deliberation by the chairman was going on, I wanted to share something about my office. I mean, we've just, I cannot show you my office going out from here, but I wanted to share a small piece, and I've opened the file which we created. And it's a very small step we've taken as a CA firm, but I don't know. I feel that it has a huge impact. So the poster you see on the screen is placed right outside the door of our office. So whosoever is walking in, he sees the poster saying your door to financial freedom. Now, why have we as a CA firm selected to place a small poster? There's a huge thought behind it. The thought is that brands and businesses have a key difference, that businesses sell products and services, whereas brands are selling emotions. Remember your favorite chocolates, remember your favorite car, or anything that you love to the ultimate, and think about how much calculations you do before buying them or taking services from them, or how much it is out of your free will that you choose to be there. For an example, I would like to share that if you see, if I say 2-minute noodles or quick dehydrated noodles in India, we all switch to the same product. Go back today and see the fit, and you can easily use YouTube in today's world, so you don't have to wait for the advertisement. They are not selling the taste, flavor, or quality. What they are selling and describing their product as is a product of emotions. There's a lot of emotion that they are selling. So let's understand brand building first of all. What is a brand? Now, before we move into the deep delve slides of the day, I would like to use some annotations and let me show you something on your screen so you can at least start making up your mind about how we are going to learn today. So first, brand, let's make it like let's make a verbatim out of it. So the word brand consists of these 5 letters, where B in my belief, in my thought process, is the belief. So there should be a belief system of the people attached of quality. There should be an assurance that yes, good quality product or service will be available. Now, from this moment onwards, I'll talk about a CA firm. So when you are a chartered accountant, a qualified chartered accountant, we should be thankful. I do agree that there could be a thought that should we have separate logos, or should we have our own branding possibility or not. But before that happens, even today, we work, all of us in this meeting, people who are connected via many modes, and they talk to me. I always say that we all work under a common shared logo, and that in fact makes it easier for us, because the first part of the brand, the belief system, is targeted and is sorted by ICI. So we get assurance, we get the assurance we deliver to our clients that they can believe in us. Second thing is true. A 6-month child will remember the face and they'll be more comfortable. You will like to go to the brand you see again and again. And the second R is repetitive. So the quality that you deliver, it's not a one-time thing. Quality is a commitment. You have to repeat, you have to go on, deliver quality again and again and again. And there is no limit to how long. And that's the repetitiveness people are expecting from the brands, and you should be expecting yourself to deliver. Moving on, A. Now, A is another important aspect, which is availability. The problem with brands and many CA firms is, I have had many clients that have taken over from other CA firms, of course. I can say this, I can swear to my soul that I have never ever, forget about undercutting, I've never even taken a file on the same price the previous accountant was doing it on. I always add a premium that I'm taking it over. So of course there is some premium that should be attached to give myself the assurance that he is here for something except paying less than what he was paying earlier, because that's not the kind of attitude that I wanted to work with. And I decided this way back when I started my practice. So the biggest problem that those clients come to me with is that he's become a bigger person and he is no longer available. We cannot even get in touch with him when required. So the problem with CA firms, or maybe individuals as accountants, we at times lack in providing services or being available for our clients. I do not say be available 24/7, but at least have a turnaround within 24 hours, or the first or second hour of your working day should be dedicated to getting back to your clients, to getting back to the people you have missed during the non-working hours. And for that matter, the first thing you have to remember, and this is a personal habit you need to develop. If you have a habit of showing up to work on random times, especially later hours, like maybe 11, 10:30, change that habit, make it a fixed time, and reach your office at a certain time. And make it half an hour before your working hours begin. So that half an hour can be dedicated to seeing who all have to turn back to, what will be my agenda for the day, and we can move forward with that. This is just a small tip. You can of course choose, but you have to be available. My agenda, my question to you is that you should not be making the mistake of being unavailable. Moving on to the N. Well, N, another important aspect is brands do not say yes all the time. So there has to be no on your KRO. So if something is below your pay grade, below your acceptation, below your acceptable criterias, please have the heart to say no to something. Trust me, better things come to people who say no to worse things. So if we say yes to everything that comes to us, there's a hard time we're going to have to get in touch with greater services in life, greater clients. Will not have that opportunity because we're wasting so much time on people we should have said no to. Last and most important, a brand is decisive in nature. So they take a decision and they stick to it. I'm not saying that you be stubborn, be decisive. Many times, renovation of your offices, reaching out to the client, making meetings, joining clubs, joining a gym, maybe because we meet more clients there, joining a group of people, clubs, religious organization, whatever you think is your perfect market. We keep on, we're not decisive and we think about, yeah, I need to do this, I'll do this, I'll do that. No, we have to be decisive and do it like this. Do it right now. This is the solution that we're looking forward to. And people who are decisive, they make many mistakes, but they take approximately thrice as many decisions as a normal person does. And even if half of them are going wrong for them, at least 1.5 times of a normal person, they'll be making better decisions. And yes, that is the factor, that is the X factor that takes them above all the normal people. Let's move on and begin the session formally now. I know that there's a lot of stories, but it was such a pleasure to listen to the chairman that I wanted to make sure that I spin some knowledge around what he has said, so at least the tone of the session can continue in the same fashion. Moving on. Okay, just like I said, I'm sorry, I have a habit of making notes while I deliver, so I do not miss anything. So one of the things that I always ask people to do, whenever you get an opportunity to service or to deliver services to any client, make sure, or anything, not just client services, if education is being taken, if you're doing any further courses, make sure to ask the question that why am I doing this? What is in it for me is the question. So firstly, today I will answer that question for you, but make sure you have such a question ready for yourself. So if you have a question in the beginning of the session, luckily we have a question box for you. You can drop your questions right now. So maybe I don't cover it, maybe I do, but you should have your questions parked in the parking lot, right? Let's start with it. So firstly, most of you are here to enhance your personal brand. Are here to enhance our personal brand. Secondly, manage our relationships with the existing clients, and we want to make relations to develop new clients or maybe get more business from the existing ones. Yeah. The third agenda that is on my KRO is making sure you understand how to develop your business. Business development encompasses a lot of areas, but one of the areas which an accountant should be concerned with is what services to add to my portfolio and what services to, to distract, stop giving them. I mean, stop offering such services. There were a lot of services I used to give as a young chartered accountant, and today I have totally given up on those services and I no longer deliver them. I'll be honest, that is a very simple reason for it. That some things are just pulling you down, making you slower. You should not think that, okay, I have a 25,000 staff. If I make 30,000 out of that service, what's the harm? There is a harm. Your mental engagement is there in every client that comes through the door of your office. If you are a proprietor or a partner of a small firm, even if you're handling a bigger firm, whatever junction, whatever lag or department that you're running, you have a sort of stress. So there are services we should always focus on leaving. So that's development. Development does not only mean, if I say body transformations and bodybuilders, what do? They don't just gain muscles, they also focus on reducing fat. So there is something you have to reduce, there is something you have to gain, and that is how development happens. So business development is another important aspect that we will learn today. I will also talk about how you can stay competitive. So we have many accountants coming in every 6 months. We have old accountants coming into practice. Even in jobs, people are coming in, day out. And today, many people talk to me of my generation and previous generations that youngsters are getting packages of like half a CR in their second, third year by switching jobs, and we are still not able to get to that point. Now let's focus. What's the reason of it? The reason of that is you don't have to become competitive. Competitiveness, quality, these are commitments. You have to stay this for a very long time. The consistency matters. Repetitiveness matters to being a brand. And branding is not limited to practicing CS. Branding is limited across the profession, because branding is a skill that can make you as a person or your organization stand out and get a premium pay of the similar services somebody else is delivering without making himself a brand. And of course, we'll talk about what networking opportunities are there for you. And there are many opportunities. I talked about it, that you can join certain organizations, you can go in meetings, you can go and attend functions, parties, enjoy yourself and make clients, and that's how it works. And yes, how to diversify your skills. So what skills are good to add in today's scenario? We will talk about this. We'll talk about the market size of various services and see, is there actual metal in the services that are popular in the industry, or there's just a fake hype that we are following. So let's fasten our seatbelts and talk about the branding as a topic for the day. Firstly, what are the common challenges a chartered accountant faces while branding? Remember, the entire session is from the point of view of chartered accountant. So I do branding and marketing consultation for many organizations, but my focus is towards chartered accountant. So why chartered accountant? Because that is another level of challenge that comes to me, and that is my brand. That is my belief that I'm creating in the people, that I love to take this challenge up. First thing, or foremost, what we need to talk about is the common challenge is compliance and ethical standards. So there is a balance that has to be struck between effective marketing and adhering to ethical standards. There are a lot of myths. I promise you, within the next few slides, you will realize that there is a lot of myth around us, which surrounds us as accountants, and we will definitely try to bust a lot of myths for you today. And second problem, and this is by far the biggest challenge CA firms face. Trust me, not just CA firms, even accountants in service, even accountants who go into business. The problem is, when we do chartered accountancy as an education, I don't know how many of you will relate to it, but you were good in subject A. I'll use numbers, okay? Subject 1. You scored well in subject 2. And the problem is that your outcome, you're working in subject number 3. So the problem which you are facing today is not just that what diversification has happened during your career. The problem is you're not able to define what area do you want to service, or what is the definition of my services. If I call myself an accountant, is it only one thing that an accountant can do? There are multiple things. There's one common line which we used to hear when we came into practice. I'm going to be saying I'm also guilty of using that statement very commonly, that we don't say no to any services. We do everything. No problem. In the beginning, yes, you have to try and see what all you can conquer, what all fields you can get into, and accordingly you can decide. Because, of course, we did not do a good research, and online tools were not very developed when I started. And of course, in COVID, the information has poured down the internet, and now we have more opportunities to learn and conquer more data, and we have a lot of support that comes in. But what is the definition of my brand? My problem is that clear and unique value proposition. Why is that? Let me just take the name which I have on the screen. Why CA Bhavi Thakkar is, what is her value proposition? Why a client should go to her and not to somebody else? Let's say not to myself, or not to Jaisar, or what is the value proposition that I carry in front of all those people? So we are having problems. So what happens is, if we don't have a value proposition, there is nothing that communicates our expertise and services. This is very difficult for CAs, because yes, the opportunities come and go. So we have to do two things: what opportunities are coming to us, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. Trust me, look around and ask the CAs which are very well established. They do not have a very vast portfolio. They try to keep a portfolio of clients which is exclusive, and they try to make sure that people attend to them for certain kind services only. They do not want to deliver all the services. They do not
Those
want
who have not
to attend to all the clients. They want to attend to a certain level of clients. They want to increase their business, but in a particular field. I'll tell you the biggest problem which people will face if we are going to service every industry. One, that if you will deliver all the services, you as an individual or I as an individual, when you will, when there will be there's a certain threshold. When you cross that, you have big clients. Big clients do not hire one chartered accountant and they have in-house services, all of them taken by one person. They will ask you that what services do you give? You cannot say I do everything. They are looking for expertise. Why? Because they have the capacity to hire 5 to 6 CA firms for their business. They need a separate person for tax and TDS as well, income tax and TDS. So that's the level of expertise people expect. And when we go to them and say we do tax, TDS, GST, and accounting and finance, reporting, stat, audit, internal, everything, then they do not have a clear. They do not. It's not that they take us lightly, but of course they do not have that confidence in that brand which does everything. I mean, when this confidence is possible if you have many partners, if you have many a huge setup where 30, 40 different people are giving services, 3 experts are sitting for specific service, 3 for this, 3 for that. So yes, but when you talk as a CA, as an accountant, when I reach out a client, I reach out in my individual capacity that okay, I will give you certain services with my firm. So I said most of the relations that you make, most of the business that you get is based on emotion. So that client wants to give business to you, not to a firm, not to your team. So whatever you do is more interesting to them. They're more interested in switching to you for that service. The problem is we have not defined our brand. We have not defined the value proposition for ourselves. Moving on to the other part, which is target audience. Once we have to, so again, if you're not defined properly, there's a very big chance that you would not have still identified your target audience. I'll tell you why. Because if I do not have a clear agenda in my mind that what gentry I want to serve, what services I want to deliver, what is unique about me. So how do I know whom I need to reach? What organization do I need to join? What religious cult do I need to start visiting regularly? It's just an example. Now, don't get emotional on everything. And I think emotion is what brands, capitalize on, not get emotional yourself. So, but still think about it. What places will I get business from is only after I know what business I'm looking for. So the first problem is that we do not know what we are going for and what business we are aiming to achieve or onboard the clients for. And then once if these 3 things are covered, then comes reputation management. So the biggest thing is online reputation today. Because today the chai tapri has been changed to online Instagram and whatever you want to call it, LinkedIn sometimes. Yeah. So the difference between Instagram and LinkedIn, I was having a very funny conversation with my wife a couple of days ago where I said that the difference between LinkedIn and Instagram is the same, which used to be the difference between a tea stall outside in a non-commercial area and a tea stall which is in a commercial area. People are giving opinions without any filters on them, without any, and we are getting emotional without doing any sort of research on our own. So that's the only difference. Social media is just like a big tea stall where everybody is coming in saying whatever they want to, and you do not get to choose what you want to listen to. So it just depends upon. Earlier, it was the time you were at the tea stall, who was there. Now, whenever you logged into the account, what algorithm wanted you to see, that's what you see today. Moving on. In that scenario, reputation management becomes the key. The biggest thing that you can do for your reputation, and this is the favor you'll be doing to yourself and your family and your firm. Stop negative comments about yourself first, second, about anybody. People who have a negative outlook, and I am being very honest, how people lose their reputation online, how people lose their reputation offline. Once you have a negative opinion about everybody, or maybe other chartered accountants, bad mouthing other chartered accountants will get you nowhere. I'll promise you how. So what happens is a client comes to you first. We think he's coming from another CA to me, so maybe he wants to keep me higher and the other one lower. So let me just criticize that person. First of all, we all work under the same brand logo, right or wrong? Big brands never criticize their competitor. They thank you for choosing them over them. Why? Because that is what makes sure their quality is respected. If the other person was bad, there is no guarantee that you're good. You might be just a little less bad. You might be a little average, not bad, not good. Just somebody which they will make shift with. But if you claim and you respect other persons whom people are leaving and coming to you, if they are good, at least you are too good. So that's the kind of emotional play that you need to make sure. Reputation comes with making sure you respect others' reputation. Last is time constraint. The first thing is that yes, client work is huge on chartered accountants, and even to perform that client work, a lot of education, training, and a lot of continuing professional education, which is CPE. It's not just the CPE hours which you have to complete, and you'll be getting 2 unstructured ones today. Actually, professional education is the kind of learning we have to do on a daily basis. And I think you will agree that many times we have to, study the new updates and, study the developments that are happening in the different business worlds, tax world. So this becomes difficult. I agree to it, but I don't subscribe to the thought that the challenges cannot be met. Limited staff, small practices have a big challenge on them in terms of brand building, but let's just assume that we will have to find ways to it, right? Let's move on. Okay. The solution. The solution to all the problems. Let me just talk about solutions now. Firstly, compliance and ethics. Yes. Look, first you have to research and understand the relevant regulations regarding advertising, branding in the accounting profession. Yes, you can, and today you can just go to ai.icai and log into your account and just type something and ask answers to your ethical dilemmas. You will have crystal clear answers on that platform. Then you need to develop the marketing materials that highlight services but strictly adhere to ethical guidelines set by the professional body. Second problem is, of course, the definition. For that, you need to do your own SWOT analysis and, of course, have the core strengths in place. Then what is your USP? And, of course, create a brand statement, create your vision that encapsulates the value of the services, the mission that you have, and, of course, what services you offer. So that is the brand statement which we are looking for. And if you can create that by doing your own SWOT analysis, and I know that I'm talking to chartered accountants, so I do not need to elaborate too much on what SWOT refers to. Rather, I think I should give you the credits of when the credits are due, right? Moving on, the target audience identification. Okay, to identify the target audience, if you've defined your brand already, then of course you can utilize market research to, you'll get the demographics, you'll get the characteristics, what you need in the client, and how to reach those clients, and create client personas to better understand what needs and preferences of different target groups are. So you can change your attitude and your behavior when you get into different rooms. And of course, time constraints. You can always automate the marketing efforts. Social media posts and email campaigns can be run, and maybe you can, of course, choose to hire somebody who can, help you out with the marketing part. If you want to keep your services at the peak, which should be your thought process, I think marketing is very well outsourced, and it's possible for chartered accountants too. All right. Moving on. Now, you see this little guy here? He is blowing a trumpet and telling you that there are certain things you thought were true, but they actually were not. First, myth number one, branding is not allowed for CS. Think again. How did this myth came into being? My question is, how did the myth came into being? Of course, branding is not allowed in the conventional way, but thought leadership, specialization, quality services is not only allowed but encouraged to maintain professional standards. How can you be a thought leader? Who has stopped you from deliberating your knowledge? Who has stopped you from writing articles? Who has stopped you from reaching out to people and sharing your knowledge and developing? I personally take a lot of financial wellness sessions for people who are working in companies who are just employed, and then I know they cannot give me big business, but at least I can provide my knowledge towards finance, towards management, towards investments via such sessions. This is thought leadership. You can of course give materials of accounting literacy, financial literacy, and do the efforts and do them for free, do them as a service, but this will create a brand for you in itself. And I do not talk about the moral issues. The moral issues can be bigger. For everybody, it could be different. But for you, if your brand is important, you can use channels like thought leadership. Create your specialization. Go out crazy. Tell the entire country, entire world that you are an expert at this matter. This is one of the ways to, of course, approach the ever so complicated realm of marketing for chartered accountants. Second, social media use is completely prohibited. Again, that's a big myth. You can use social media not just for your personal photographs, but for sharing knowledge, professional knowledge. You can, of course, share your achievements if you've achieved something, if you've been awarded, if you've been felicitated, if you have been invited somewhere, unless it is a client solicitation, or it can just be a general awareness. You cannot advertise that this is the services I provide. Please call me for these services. But you can say the common misconceptions which are there in terms of new scheme and old scheme these days, right? The third myth, big one: only big firms can build a brand. Sorry, even small firms can. No, I think I should change the word for the next session that I take. Small firms have developed strong brands through expertise, quality services, and ethical networking. I personally practice in Ghaziabad, and we have CAs. I would not name to avoid solicitation, but we have an expert who's just doing RERA, and he's an absolute gem of that knowledge. I have a person dealing with IT audits, and he's an absolute gem of that. I have an accounting. That's a very young chartered accountant in my city who is working in accounting consultation, IFRS consultation. He's doing wonders. He's doing wonders. And he is a brand when it comes to accounting. I think 10, 20 people are there who call him or her. He's just a 25, 26-year-old boy. So this is the level of expertise you need to develop so that your brand can be developed. Third one. Also, the fourth myth: website content should be minimal or boring. Sorry, you're allowed to have a detailed website, but the content should be factual, actual, not promotional. The firm's philosophy, details, service areas, missions, visions, they can all be included. Yes, you can have your entire mission, vision, and your thought leadership presented there. You can write articles about topics and put out on your website. You can, of course, don't use the pull mode. That's it. So don't use the push mode. That's it. Fair enough. So these are the myths. I hope that I have been able to clarify some of them, if not all. Right? So let's move on. In today's one, we'll not even have the opportunity of asking you if it's good time to move on, because yes. Okay. A big myth is that asking for referrals is unethical. It's almost considered a taboo. No, it's not a taboo. Passive referrals from satisfied clients or professional peers are fine. Direct solicitation is not allowed. But if it's a passive referral, if somebody is satisfied with your service and they refer a client based on their satisfaction, that is fine. right? Moving on. Talking about advertising. Look, let's understand. I will talk about the permission and the conditions. First of all, a basic website is permitted, but it should only be informational and not promotional. Social media, LinkedIn, etc. is allowed, but no active solicitation is allowed. Allow me a moment. Sorry, the screen was white, so I was a little confused. It just went minimized and I couldn't allocate the screen. Really sorry about that. Just a moment. The screen is struck. Give me 2 minutes, please. Sorry about that. I just lost controls over my screen. Just 1 minute. Yes, I have come back. Okay. Can you fine now? Yeah, it's okay. All right. Moving on. Let's talk about the website. So a basic website is very well permitted, but it should only be in an informational manner and not a it should not be pushy. It should not it should not motivate people to take your services. But yes, if you're sharing information, of course, you can be on social media, but you cannot solicit actively. So I can write an article about accounting, I can write an article about brand building, but I can't say that you should contact me for a good brand building. I cannot ask people to take my services, but I can always be there. But of course, no paid ads are allowed. Testimonials are not allowed. That means your satisfied clients cannot be printed on your materials, your stationery, or maybe even websites, or in your office. I wanted to put posters of people here who who've given me good feedback. I wanted to put an entire wall of film here, but no, it's not allowed. So not allowed. I understand that much. There's always deep reasons for it. I know reasons of a few things, but do I want to go deep and ask about reasons of everything? No, I think I trust the council, I trust the institute, and of course, the elders who have created these rules, that they must have thought something great before making these rules. Yeah. Visiting cards, yes. Names, yes. Within the rules, of course. Get them done. No issues. Colors are allowed. Dynamic visiting cards are allowed. Now, let me just try and, just for your knowledge, I want to show you the visiting card that I use. And I think I spend a decent amount on them. Just showing you for your knowledge. Yeah, this is the card that I use. So it's got leaves. It's got everything that you might want in a card. It's got a good presentation. It's got a good color to it, and it's got a good material to it. If any of you would have had it, they know it. It's got a good material to it. So you're allowed to use formats which are given by ICI, so that's fine. But no comparative advertising. Please take care that comparative should not be there. That I'm best CA in Ghaziabad? No. I'm the best CA in India? No. Am I a best tax consultant anywhere? No. Am I better than most? No. Please understand we use a common logo and a common brand. And that comes with the condition that we cannot be comparative to ourselves. We cannot even compare to other professions. Forget about comparing within the profession. Even this is something I already told you while I talked about reputation, that that you should not do it even for even for any individual, even if they're not qualified and they're just doing a job of a TRP or which is tax return preparer. So maybe TRP could be understood as the television one. TRP, if they're tax return preparers, or GSTPs. Please don't never say negative about anybody. Don't compare yourself to anyone. You're just pulling yourself down. Especially if you're saying somebody is bad, you're trying to say yourself as good. I'm sorry. You just clearing their name out of your. You're just burying the hatchet. That's all I can say. Just allow me 1 minute. A moment. Okay. What is not allowed? Good question. And good questions deserve to be answered. First of all, what unethical tactic are we talking? Google ads are not allowed. Many people who think they can run Google ads, they can pay money to companies like, you cannot pay money to any organization on Google. Maybe in India, the popular organization is IndiaMart. You're not supposed to be listed on them as paid clients. Why? Because no matter how much you think it is ethical, it is solicitation. Somewhere or the other, you are paying someone to choose, to show you wherever some service is being searched, you're paying someone to refer you, and that is solicitation and is equal to professional misconduct, and it can be very costly to you. But on the contrast, if you are paying an organization, let's say a club, to be a member of that club, you attend that club, you get 5 clients, that's not a problem. You're not soliciting, you're just being a part of a club. Come on, you can join the damn club. Or maybe a gym, maybe a swimming pool, maybe a good hotel chain. You can be there, you can be a member, you can attend functions, events, societies, but you cannot solicit. That's all I can say. Right? Testimonials on your website. I already talked about this. Why? It is not allowed under the ICI's code of ethics. You cannot have testimonials on your website. Right? Can you use client logos in your pitch decks? No. Client names? No. Anything about the client? No. Even if the client consents to the same, you cannot use their name for promotion. Maybe I have 5 big names. I can use, I should not take their names even while I'm talking to somebody. Right? Rating platforms like Just Dial, Sulekha, no, you're not allowed to join rating platforms. Why? Go to the previous slide. Come on, let's do it. On the previous slide itself, I told you, just give me 1 minute, a momentum, that you're not supposed to do comparative advertising. Right? Comparative advertisement is a no. No comparative advertisement. So, moving on. So this is what to do, what not to do, be or not to be. All right. Because we are creating brands, the purpose of creating brands is to attract clients. And I'm sure most of you are not here to attract or any or many clients. So we're here to see and learn how to attract high value clients. Right? I hope you agree that we are here to connect to even in between, and then I realized I'm in a webinar. Okay, first of all, high value clients need high value niche specialization. So chic. So first of all, what are the expertise that they are looking for? International taxation, forensic audits, valuations under IBBI, transfer pricing, ESG and impact reporting, startup advisory or IPO readiness. These are some services which I have chosen. These are key services because these are many of them are small markets, but there's not a lot of competition at the present moment. And yes, it will not be very competitive any soon. I'll tell you why. Because they need a lot of expertise. They need a lot of time to invest and not make any money for the time you are spending in learning these skills. Okay. So first of all, these skills can be learned and you can make your expertise. And of course, there's a lot of demand for these services. But then how can you give outstanding client experience? First of all, I told you the most common reason people come to me and they've said that I want to change my CE is because of the lack of response. Responsiveness is important. The communication has to be clear. You must be able to give strategic advice and not just compliance. Be technology driven. Reporting and dashboard should be technology driven. There's a lot of trainings going in ICAI for AI, a lot of trainings going on for office automations, PSEC, Professional Skills Enrichment Committees, doing so many trainings. Please make sure you attend them and be driven by technology and skills. And don't worry, you can have strategic partnerships and MDPs with legal firms, tech consultants as well, and VCs and investment banks as well. This is further you can think about. I can say broadening your horizon. I think I would not be wrong in saying that. Yeah. So let's understand the market overview of the high value clientele. That what are we here as a brand we want to attain and enrich and of course attend to high value client market of 20 to 28,000 crore market in Indian rupees. In USD, that's 2.5 to 3.5 billion US dollars. The growth which is expected is 12 to 15%, which is obviously adjusted. Now, why have I shown you this data is because you have to understand that this data means a lot. You have to understand the market dynamics. I've told you what niche you have to create. Now I'm telling you what market, how to identify your target audience. I'm solving a big problem. So let's divide this market now. Before we move any further, I'll try to make sure I divide this market for you. Here is the division. So what is the services? What demand is there? So audit and assurance of the high end has a total market size of 8,000 to 10,000 crores out of the 28,000. Think this is the biggest jump in it. So very heavy competition. But if you can develop your niche, even a small margin of this, even a small expertise in this, you have a big chunk in your hand. So niche is the first key. If you have the niche, you'll have a less competitive environment, but you'll have a very competitive environment, but a very big market to explore. So it's a big jungle, but there are too many lions too. Moving on, similar to the audit and advisory, very close to the previous one, just 1,000 crores down there, is tax advisory, but that includes GST, international taxation, and litigation. So around 9,000, 7,000, 9,000 crores market is there. There's a big market size, which is in tax advisory. Now, my problem is that what is niche? Niche in audit is not just being able to sign. That is your eligibility to get into the rooms. How well are your SOPs? What is your firm manual? If you have a good firm manual in place, and how well are your audit programs designed? Similarly, in the tax, what SOPs you have, what is your service delivery, what are your ethics, what are your common ethics that you stick to? That's one of the things. So these two services are extremely high demand services, but of course, high demand, high competition. So they have HD, which is high demand, not definition, and of course HC, which is high competition, heavy competition and heavy demand. Then, of course, merger and acquisitions, valuations, due diligence. These are very common services. If you join venture capitalists, you have a network of people who are into investing in businesses. I think you can get these services very well. Valuation is very common. They look for due diligence is one of the common things that they are aiming at. It's a small market, 3,000 to 4,000 crores, but still, I think it's a moderate demand. It's MD and moderate competition is there too. But this competition is beatable because it totally depends on your network. If you can create this network or if you have this network somehow, I think you have a very big opportunity waiting for you. And you should not be ashamed of, reaching out to your network. I meet so many CAs who have a big network, their relatives in big capital firms, but they don't want to reach out to them because they don't want to reach out to their family members. No offense to your personal family politics, but yeah, I believe in, there's no harm in asking for, not a favor, it's not a favor, you're just delivering your services, marketing yourself, and if you can get all the help that you need, I think there's no problem, and there should not be any problem here. Yeah. And then a very common and a very popular name, ESG, forensics and compliance. Again, I'm putting an entire pool to it. There's a lot of SEBI, RBI, and CSR norms. SEBI has a norm of BRSR reporting. If you've read about it, good, not. It's a good up and coming opportunity, but it's again a low competition, but it's again a low demand service. It's a very limited applicability. And I'll be honest in this meeting. I don't want to disappoint anybody, but yeah, we have to look at the future of this. The entire world seems to be at war at this moment, so I don't know what the future of this will be. But yeah, it's a low competition area. If you can develop your expertise in this area, I think it's a good thing which you can enter into. And yeah, to meet these expectations, to reach these clients, your network should be of people who work for big companies where BRSR reporting is a requirement. Yeah. Then, of course, family offices, high net worth individuals, succession planning, family constitutions. If you want to do that, yeah, a small market of thousand and a half, thousand and a half, 1,500 crores. So this is big, very small market, very low competition, almost VLC. But again, very low competition, but it has not got a low demand, but it's got a niche demand. You have to be very, very expert at your services, and you have to be very accepted, very well accepted in the market for this service to deliver these services. Now, the moment I enter. So yeah, that's about the service-wise breakup of the market and how you can develop your niche and your brand and how different fields can be selected for CA firms. That's one thing. Hopefully that helps. If you want to take shots of this, wonderful. If you don't, it's good. Better. Even better. Okay. So what should be the growth strategy? The growth strategy, sorry. Not strategy, strategy. The growth strategy in today's world could be there's a rise in ESG and sustainability reporting. So yeah, this could be your growth strategy. How you can, how you can get more courses under your name. How you can do more and more research on this topic, and you can be a good resource person for this service. FDI and cross border mergers and acquisition. Global clients are entering in this country these days, and yes, this could be an up and coming field for you. No second thoughts about the viability of this service in this industry. However, there's a gift city. There's a lot of SME listing is going on. So startup ecosystem is at its peak. IPOs are in pipeline. So fingers crossed. I think we have a great time to be practicing, and which is we need to develop ourselves to be able to service these things. Yes. Now let's talk about the service areas and what niche you need to develop if you want to be into that service area. We've talked about the service areas already. Now I'll go very specific. Okay. First service area is audit and assurance. I told you should have SOPs, you should have firm manuals, but there is some more in-depth niche that you need to develop, in-depth knowledge or in-depth protocols you need to be in, you should be in place, should be the protocols for risk-based audits, ESG audits. These two audits are up and coming. Again, the market size will shrink, but only big firms are preparing for these things. So mid firms and small firms, if you are a part of that, or even if you're in a big firm and you're an employee for your own personal development, career development, I think it's a good opportunity that you move forward and get your hands over the materials, over the expertise and the skills required for risk-based auditing and of course ESG audit. Yeah, that's one thing. Then, of course, direct tax. Um, one of the things is cross-border structuring. So structuring which goes cross-border, different countries structure into India, and how you can structure things sitting here outside the country. And of course, there's a lot of litigation that happens in foreign entities here, and their accountants sometimes need our support. Yes, this is one of the biggest networks you need to always overlook. So you should never overlook is that there are accountants who are looking for our services, and the only thing that they are looking forward to is our ability to service them. Litigation is one of the things. So they reach out, they find accountants, they find people who can represent them, who can of course have who can put their word across in the litigations. And yes, it's a good opportunity in direct taxation. Of course, this is a part of that big market chunk that we were talking about, 10,000 crores, maybe nine here. In indirect tax, GST audits, the voluntary ones. People today, I was sitting in one of the meetings a few months ago. It was a board meeting and the audit committee was there. The audit committee had to make some representation. So the CEO was present in that meeting somehow. And the CEO, a very big firm, a very, very renowned accounting agency, he started, disgracing them on the fact that the focus of them is on income tax, and you do not say anything about GST, and then we are in trouble because of GST. Now, let me just tell you what happened there. So, in the last few years, that big company had approximately 30 to 35 notices because it's a big organization, and they were being asked to, pay off or just get rid of just pay the authorities off. But the intent of the organization or the CEO does not want to pay off anybody, or does not want to put any they do not prefer in paying off, they prefer in paying the penalties rather than paying any bribes. So that's a good organization. Even that organization had a problem with their master and very big accounting firm, that why are you not focusing on GST? So yeah, GSTs, e-invoice compliances, many firms which were sitting at their offices, they do not have a proper software which is integrated with e-invoice. They have the software, but they're not able to do proper e-invoicing. So good, if you can take that up, it's a good opportunity in indirect taxation as well. Yeah. What can you do? What developments you need to make in merger and acquisition or valuation? First of all, IBBI valuation and startup advisory. Do not just start adding things to your portfolio. First, this is the biggest mistake, and I am telling you with experience because I made that mistake early on in my career. But I used to say yes to almost every service, but when I had to face the person responsible for hiring me, I used to get away with almost 8 out of 10 times, but 2 times which I was not able to get away from is the perfect way of making sure that the entire network which is built around those two people is lost forever, and I will not have the opportunity to get into business with these people ever again. So yeah, that was what happened years and years ago. But now today also I think about making sure that if you are getting into any services, make sure the niche is developed. Yeah. Forensics and fraud. What all can you do? There's a lot of cyber fraud. There's a lot of bank fraud investigation that is required from accountants. Um, you know, the frauds are up to this level that I have my office in Ghaziabad and Kavinagar. If you'll go to Google and just Google Kavinagar, Ghaziabad, you'll see one article. Yesterday, they have unearthed a fraud, which is a fake embassy. In my near my office, there was an embassy. We all used to think it's an embassy. It was there for almost a decade now, and we always thought that some ambassador lives here and it's an embassy. But no, that was a front. That was a fake organization which was carrying on. So frauds, not just cyber or bank, you have to keep your clients safe from so many things. On top of that, if you can consult on cyber frauds, if you can consult on bank frauds, you have a niche which will give you a big break in the forensic and fraud prevention, fraud detection, and aftercare fields of accountancy. That's one of the most exceptional things that you might get into going forward. Another service, virtual CFO or the FP&A, which is I think future planning and analysis. It's budgeting basically. I know it as FP&A and we do budgeting in this, and we because we deliver this service through another partner, we do deliver this service, and I have a hang of it. So there's a retainership, so you get a salary like it's like a salary you get every month. So if normally a CFO can be hired at 10, 20, 30 lakhs a month, retainer CFOs are hired for 3, 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs, whatever you can take per month from them, and you deliver almost all the services that a CFO does, but you do not stay on their role and you're not there every time. Especially the service is used by startups, and some very well established organizations will choose to have a virtual CFO because for strategy, we do not need the CFO to attend every day. You need him to be there and do the upkeep of all the affairs, and they have a good organizational structure running it. So CFO is responsible for making sure the system works. And to make that sure, maybe sometimes you do not need a full-time employee, and to reduce that cost and bring it to a sensible level. On. Now we have the client types and the services that they're looking for. Startups, which are VC or PE backed, they have venture capitalists or PE behind them. Mostly in tech industry, software as a service industry, and fintech. They will need valuation, due diligence, and IFRS consultations. Now let's understand. Understand this table in reverse. So first, you need to find this out, what you want to do. Second, you have the answer to the, second and third in combination will give you the answer to your target market. But once you have the target market, in the third one, you will get your value proposition that you want to create. And if that service is being delivered to 3 or 4 types of different people, you can create a different value proposition for each and every client. Yeah. Firstly, the startups which are backed by someone, they always need valuation and due diligence because the VC or the PE, they need somebody to make sure that their money is not manipulated and they're not having they'll not be in a big loss because of what they have invested. So they always need due diligence valuations. And then they also need IFRS consultations. The industries can be tech, SaaS, or fintech. So you can keep these people close and you can keep regular interactions with them. And I think this will be very good for you. Talking about the second thing, manufacturing and service industry listed companies are looking for statutory audits, internal audits, and ESG reporting. So if you can develop these niche, you can have a specific, and how by thought leadership you can turn it into paying clients is a matter of skill, is a matter of abilities. That's what we are looking forward to from you guys. Yeah. MSMEs which are moving towards IPO, maybe SME IPO, maybe they're just grown enough and now they want to go into IPOs. A big boon has been there in India in pharmaceuticals, logistics, and infrastructure as well. So these 3 industries, they have good MSMEs which are getting into IPO. An example of MSME, I'm fond of my city maybe, but it's okay. So I live in Ghaziabad and there is a small MSME in the industrial area here, very small industrial area. And they make spare parts for a German car company. So that is the level of Indian MSMEs. So what do you think? These companies are here to play a small game. By the way, that's a partnership firm, not even a private limited company. So in a partnership level, if Indian MSMEs can do that much, and with a thought leader like youngsters they come into business, ultimately they might want to take investment and be bigger than anything else. And yes, when we go to Make in India, we'll need big investments. So these investments will be driven by of course IPOs. So IPOs, when MSMEs will go into IPO, the first service they will need is IPO readiness. But they want to be ready to issue an IPO. Now, what is IPO readiness? I am so glad you asked because I'm sure this question is in your mind. Sir, to issue an IPO, forget about IPO. I had due diligence being done for one of the clients. It was a restaurant chain. Call me a person of personal bias, but I do due diligence for so many clients. But whenever I have been a part of I've led the engagement. There has been never a case where a restaurant chain has got investment from my VC. I don't know why, but the reason is that I have issues with there is improper reporting. There is no full disclosures. There is a chance of there's a chance of black marketing. There's a chance of under table cutting, or maybe some services or some things are being done in cash. There's some moment of unaccounted there's some unaccounted business going on. So I have problems with that. And if you have that in your books available in the last 3-5 years, sir, you're not IPO ready. IPO, forget about IPO, you're not even ready for a small VC or maybe PE investment. If you're an accountant, good at your job, start taking up the service of making people IPO ready. And that's the great way through. That's a great service you can deliver to MSMEs. And again, even these customers will be looking for this service, IPO readiness. Even maybe not listed companies, we can say, but smaller companies which are in the process of listing, which think about listing, any company moving towards IPO. So I should remove the word MSME, but this is for knowledge, but not just MSME. Any organization moving towards an IPO oblique investment would need this service from you, IPO readiness. And then, of course, a structure, how you can structure their tax better so that they can have advantage if the taxation policies. There's a lot of advantages in startup and in other industries. Yeah. What about MNCs and foreign subsidiaries? There are a lot of MSMEs that operate in this country. Of course, there are subsidiaries of foreign companies which are in India, and they work in almost all the sectors. They need transfer pricing, FEMA compliances, BPS compliances, and tax litigation from you. These are the services. If you develop niche into them, the chances of your success are huge. So, if you want to think about these services, I think it's a good field to look forward to. Moving on. What about the family offices and the high net worth individuals? I told you they're into finance. Sometimes they're into real estate. Big high net worth individuals. There's some of them are VCs, but then I've already told about valuation and due diligence. So that will be covered there. If they are into VECs or PEs, that's where they will be looking forward to. But then they do need people to plan their wealth, cross-border tax, if they have investments across the border, and of course, succession planning. So a lot of people lose a lot in the inheritance process. Why? Because properties are stuck, because there is a lot of controversies that go around properties, and because of that, your generations suffer. Right? Moving on to the last but not the least, NGOs, trusts, large scale ones, who are into development sectors and get foreign deposits, foreign donations. They need FCRA compliances. And of course, they need the audits under CSR, the CSR audits from you. So these are all the services that people will come to you looking about it. And I think you should always be ready with the ability to deliver these services for them. I will now take you to the recap, because the recap is going to be long and I hope you guys are ready for it. So I'll almost cover the entire presentation once again, because I want you to know that I hope you have understood it better, and I cannot believe and cannot expect you to remember all the information in the nutshell like nothing happened. So firstly, we learned the common challenges. There was compliance and ethics. There was defining the brand, which I've already discussed. How will you define and what is the use of it? I hope you understand now after the entire discussion went through. Then we identified our target audience. How did I do? In the last slide, I told you how certain people, look for certain services. By knowing that target, you reach out to the right person, and you make sure your networking game is on top, and you can attend to the right people at the right time. Yeah. Then we did reputation management. I think the best thing to make a positive reputation, I hope you will agree, that avoid being negative and mostly your reputation turns out to be more and more positive. Yeah. We talked about time constraints, that how the time constraint can be managed. I do not promote, I do not even discourage. I mean, it's okay if I say I promote. People should have their marketing efforts outsourced, and they should have people working on their marketing needs rather than working themselves. People should work on their own marketing needs. Right? Now, mission and vision, they say, how can somebody else define a mission and vision? But the problem is that I don't want you other people to define your brand, but at least you can give them the inputs required. You can give them your thought, and there are people who are ready to, for the right with the right team, they are ready to service your requirements on a on a very large scale. However, moving further, we talked about in the next part of the presentation, we were talking about we talked about the solutions. There was, of course, there was compliances. So how the compliance and ethics can be taken care of, how you can research and get the solution in your way, how you can define your brand, and of course, how to identify target audience. We said market research, do your Google form research, and of course the time constraints. How can you automate the time constraint efforts? Uh, what were the myths that we're covering? We talked about the biggest myth of the century, I believe, that marketing is not allowed to CA firms. Sorry, that's not the case. Marketing is allowed, but it has its own limitations, and I'm glad we were able to cover them with you today. Uh, Thought leadership, specialization, quality services, they're not just allowed, I told you, they're encouraged by the institute. Yeah. No prohibition of social media use completely, but yes, advertising is restricted and not disallowed, but restricted. So, of course. First, we talked about small firms, website content, and I think that's about it for the myths and the busting of the myths. However, when we move to the next part of the presentation, the biggest myth, which you said the big daddy of all the myths, was that advertising is sorry, asking for referrals is unethical. No, passive referrals are allowed. So active marketing, active referrals are obviously discouraged, not allowed, and not just a taboo, but they are illegal. But yes, if there are passive referrals, is definitely no problem in there, and you can definitely go for them, and of course have your referrals from your clients who are satisfied with your services, of course. Let's move further. In summary, we are coming out with the advertising. We talked about what kind of advertising can be done. But it can be basic website. There can be social media. You're allowed to have social media, but no active solicitation. No paid ads are allowed. Testimonials are not allowed. The boards and visiting cards can be done in the format allowed as per ICI norms. Comparative advertising is not allowed, and you should not, and it's not even encouraged. What you're not supposed to do is do not run Google ads, LinkedIn ads, don't do just Dial Sulekha, India Mart stuff. It's misconduct, it's violation, and it definitely can lead you to lose a lot of money, and sometimes you can also lose your degree as a CA. You can be struck off as a member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. The testimonials, as I said earlier as well, not allowed. Even on the website are not allowed. Even on the office, anywhere you cannot have testimonials, and do not put client information, client logo, or not even client's name in the pitch decks. Pitch decks are when you go to pitch services to a new client. Then we talked about the high value niche specializations. I'm just repeating them. If you want to make notes, I think this is the best time. So one of the niches that you can develop is international taxations, forensic audits, valuation under the IBBI, transfer pricing, ESG and impact reporting, startup advisory, and IPO readiness. These are the fields that you can be ready for always. And then how can you give outstanding client experience? By responsiveness, communication should be clear, and for that, PSEC organizes the soft skills trainings. You can always take them and develop yourself on those skills. And strategic advisory, always have strategic advice that you can give. Just don't give compliance advice. You can have strategic things. There's something which can be good for you. Like if somebody says, save my tax by giving me better investment. So you suggest another investment, but why can't that advice be that, okay, 30% taxation as well does not reduce the returns that you get from this investment, which is way more than the tax difference that is coming to you. Technology driven reporting and dashboards always can be a good choice. Have strategic partnerships with legal firms, tech consultants, VCs, investment banks. I would be glad to know if you have other things in mind, other names in mind. Of course, strategic partnerships are welcomed and encouraged, not just by ICI, but even us. Then we took a market overview. It's a big market, 28,000 crore market approximately, wherein the highest end is always given to audit and assurance. Approximate market is 8 to 10,000 crores, wherein 7 to 9,000 crores belongs to the direct taxation, and M&A and valuations have 3 to 4,000 crores to their name. There is 2 to 3,500 in ESG forensics and compliance, and yes, family offices need 1,000 to 1,000 and a half 1,500 crore market, which you can of course expand into and develop your horizons. Moving on. Obviously, this is the growth strategy which we talked about, which we want you to always have in memory. First of all, ESG is one of the places where you can grow. FDI is across border. I'm not saying these are the services you can develop, but these are the fields which are up and coming, which are developing. So how you can deliver, what value proposition you can create in them is always one of the key that you can focus towards. So it's totally your choice. I still would want you to think more about what all can we do, what additional can we do in these fields, and of course talk about gift cities, MSME listings. I told you what kind of services they'll be coming for. Of course, let's cover it in the slide which we have kept for this purpose itself. So of course, now the old fields, but new demands of those fields. So audit and assurance have a high demand for risk-based and ESG audits. Direct tax has a lot of cross-border structuring. Litigation support is what they are looking for, the direct tax in the direct tax field. And these are mostly the subsidiaries of foreign companies or foreign people who are coming in and developing their offices in India. In indirect tax, of course, GST audits, e-invoicing and compliances could be a good option. M&A and the valuation under mergers and acquisition is IBBI valuation, startup advisory. Fair enough, good fields, but these are the niches. They're fields which are already known to you, but sometimes we forget that, and people think that if I develop a niche, how would I get customers for it? So first develop the niche and market that you have that quality, and then see if somebody comes or not. How vibrant you've made your skills. That's also an important part. Then fraud and forensics, cyber frauds, or even bank fraud investigations are very much required. And virtual CFO services, FP&A, retainer-based CFO services. These are good options. These are good opportunities that you might, look forward to. Right. So we talked about different types of clients and what services are they looking forward to. We talked about VC-backed fund investors, right? Which is valuation, due diligence, IFRS. Industries they work for, listed companies, they need statutory audit, ESG reporting, internal audits from you, mostly in manufacturing and service industry. MSMEs, which are moving towards IPOs, they're in pharma, logistics, and infra. IPO readiness and tax structuring is the services that they might be looking for. But now, this is not an exhaustive list. Please remember, this is an inclusive list. These are correct answers, and there might be more which you might have. Okay, this is not an exhaustive list. So this is not the end of it. So if you want, you think if there is something else, if you have better things in your mind, these are the guiding lines, and you can choose your way afterwards, right? Talking about MNCs and foreign subsidiaries on all sectors, they're looking for transfer pricing, FEMA, PEPS, tax litigation. Family offices and HNIs, they are in finance and real estate very commonly. They need wealth planning, cross-border tax successions, and yes, NGOs and trusts on large scale. And to development sector, they need FCRA compliance and of course CSR audits is one of these services that they might be looking forward to. Now let's summarize. We've already summarized most of it. Let's move towards the end of the show, and I think it's a good time. I think you should keep some time for the questions as well. We have around 20 minutes to go, so let's just move to the summary and let me just ask for the questions. So it is important to be aware of what is and what is not permitted. Being active and aware is the key. Know the services, know the services in demand, prepare for them and lead the way, or just maybe build a new one, as I said. So yes, I think it's it for me, but I would want my moderator, the vice moderator, to come in. Bhavi Thakkar, please can you come in and help me out with the questions if there are any?
Hello, sir.
Hi, Bhavi, how are you?
Fine, sir. Sir, it was a wonderful explaining about the topic because there were many confusions regarding our topic and you had really elaborated it very nicely. And whatever you have said, I have understood, and I would like to just summarize the same in the points. The first thing that you said about the whole thing was the clear brand identity. About the brands, we need to have a clear brand identity, consistent messaging, product and service experience, digital presence, reputational management, community engagement, strategic brand positioning, and later you explain about the compliance and the ethics. So sir has beautifully explained us about so many things that we were unclear while we were also understanding the ICAI guidelines. But today you made up very much clear, linking up with the practical things, that what the market is, how it has to be expanded. There are so much opportunities for the chartered accountants, specifically the new chartered accountants who are in this field and who are unaware about so many things, and they can of the huge market. The figure, that's sounding in my mind, 28,000 crores market, the one you have highlighted. It's such a beautiful thing that we should explore, being professionals and having so much of opportunities in this arena. Now, sir, there are a few questions being posted by the participants. I would like to bring up the first question to you. Creation of brand name of any company needs more ad spending and acknowledging of various products of the company. What else needs to be done besides company logo? What do you think is the most important thing apart from logo that a person should keep in mind?
And your name. I think this is a secondary thing. Of course, I've always said, and I think it's a good discussion that I think whatever JG and Bhavi and I have said in the entire session today, one thing which people need to remember: logo just identifies your brand. So logo is not the key. Logo, I know why. I understand why people have been so keen on logos. That because they've seen the logos of Louis Vuitton and big brands going across, right? This is the logo that we are used to seeing. But the
Yes.
problem which people we need to understand is that Louis Vuitton as a brand was not because it was creating a logo. Logo came in way later. It was an individual who was making bags of consistent quality again and again and again. And many people will be interested to know that such a big brand was popularized by one of the Indian kings. I think it was the Maharaja of Patiala who ordered hundreds of bags from him. So the problem is that people should understand logo will become popular automatically ultimately. It is an important part, but it is like a soft skill which you can develop later on as well. First of all, the core is the quality. Every brand that you see as a legacy, as a legendary brand, they have a niche product or a niche service that they are delivering. Why do we see everywhere when we see hotels, there are chains like Lalit, Taj, or maybe Trident, maybe ITC? Why do we see them charging almost 20, 30 times of what a normal hotel is charging, sometimes even more? Why are people paying that niche amount to those hotels and not to the normal ones? Is it just the properties or heritage? No, it is the experience they've had. And brands have to do with the emotions. Yes, the logo can be taken care of. There is a lot you can do about your logo. But what I want you to understand and appreciate and respect is your services should be of that level that they create a sense of satisfaction. The emotion is important more than the quality. Sometimes you'll deliver absolute penultimate level of services, but the feeling or the emotion of the client might not reciprocate, thoroughly to the effort that you have made toward that service. But some people deliver whatever services, they make sure how their client is feeling about it. It's just like, I'm going to take a little a little college life example. If you remember, boys and girls, if you can go back into your colleges, while you were driving on a busy road, you needed to see on the road. But if there was your partner sitting right next to you, you used to keep on looking for their reaction. What was that? You need to always keep in check that how your client or your customer feels about your service. And CA firms, we should admit the guilt that we have missed out on this factor, that we do not check how the client feels about our delivery. We always do the best and we do not care to explain too much. We have to ultimately. I've been into hospitals. I hope you guys have. And hope no, it does not happen too much. But if it has happened to you, if any of your family members was in a complicated surgery, I hope you remember how doctors come to you and explain you the entire process, even when you don't understand a single word which comes out of their mouth. The reason is to keep you satisfied and connect emotions with you. So that's exactly what I want to say. More than the logo, focus on the emotion you do and keep the quality of your services penultimate, and your knowledge should be at its best panache it can be. That's my answer, Avi, to that question.
Very true, sir. The emotional connect is very important. And as I started, when we started the session, you already said that we have a huge emotional connect with the our clients. That's why you even mentioned my name, that why people go to Bhavi Thakkar, why people go to Jai sir, right? That's one of the emotional connect that people have. And that's the reason it's one of the most important part, apart from logo, because person is known, logo is later known, right, sir?
Yes.
Second question posted by the participants is, how great brands are achieved?
Well, great brands are achieved again. More than what I've already said, more than the previous answer which we gave, the great brands are achieved with great consistency. So maybe I come on stage one day and deliver a exquisitely well worded session. I talk about a topic very well. The chairmans are happy. Maybe the president of ICI is happy, or maybe the prime minister notices me for that matter. But I cannot do it consistently. The next time I deliver, it's going upwards and downward. It's okay, but it is totally falling flat. That's another story. You have to think about shows which were about singing and dancing, which used to come on TV. Many of those people did not make it big in the industry. The winners did not make it big in the industry, but the runner-ups, the participants, the ones who did not do big in that show, later on became one of the most legendary people of the industry. One of such examples is Arijit Singh. He was not the winner of the show which he came in, but he is a legend in today's world. Why? The point is, the consistency is misunderstood as the same level. Consistency has to be in two things: delivery as well as in growth. Keep on growing consistently, so you will one day surpass somebody sitting high on a very high altitude than you who does not grow, right? So my answer to that is consistency should be understood. The service has to be delivered consistently, and of course, you have to make sure that such services or such level of delivery is increasing on a daily basis. How well you can be. So, I come from my family comes from Punjab, so they have a very big saying. It's in Punjabi. I'll translate it into English, and it is like actors earn while they're young, whereas the professionals earn while they're old. Actually, they don't earn while they're old. There's so much time which they get, and they earn so much knowledge in that time. I think that's what creates legendary service providers. That's my opinion. So keep consistently growing and keep the delivery consistent. And I think you'll create a very big brand for yourself. That's it, Bobby. Yeah.
Right, sir. Very true. Because today, whomsoever, let's take up the example of a MNC also. Say, for example, maybe a Coca-Cola or maybe any of the product that we take up who is on the heights. They always have to give a consistent performance. If they are not consistent in their things, people will forget. At one point of time, Nokia was the leader of the market who has introduced so much features in his mobile phone, but he was not consistent in his performance. And that's why the other came, BlackBerry vanished. These are some of the examples that the brand having a huge popularity but vanished in just nights. Reason, they were not consistent in their performance. Sir, well said, it is the consistency. So the third question posted by the participants is, how much time brand last and how can we calculate its value?
The lastingness of the brand. Brands last beyond the owners, and I don't mean one owner. So why I love the example of Louis Vuitton. Let me just share the story a little, Bobby. So Louis Vuitton was an individual actually. So he was a small boy from I think very far away from Paris. He used to live, and he walked across the country to reach Paris. And he worked as an assistant, started making bags, and of course created a bag brand for himself. He used to create trunks, which turned into bags, and of course the story goes on. The most interesting part is that after the third generation of Louis Vuitton, this company was, changing hands, and ultimately this company was taken over by one of the largest investors of United States of America. And today, that brand is not being made by the in-house experts like it used to be earlier. But even today, the brand lasts. Why? Because maybe that thing which was the luxury of handmade bags is no longer there. The luxury of French made bags is not there, but the quality which they provide, right? So how interesting it is that if I tell Bhavi that I'm giving you a handbag which is made in China, you'll feel it's a little inferior quality. But if I give you a Louis Vuitton, that could cost me in lakhs. But both of them have been made in China. So once the brand creates its ground, but secondly, it stays consistent. The service, the quality has to be there. So even if it is made anywhere, if it is of the paramount quality, the brands will last forever. And I think we have brands like I think 200 to 300 years it has been that Barclays has been there. Barclays Bank has been there. It was the company which financed the first steam engine of the world. And we have companies like I don't know, banks like Citibank and all also have been for so many years now. And postal services like Royal Mail, Indian Post, they have been there for so long. And I think it's a brand which they've created for themselves. There are many government organizations like, of course, Indian Post. So many places, a post office is no longer a necessity, but it is there in the outreachable parts because, of course, that's the brand and people want to connect to it. And I'm trying to recollect one. There's a small bakery which is on in Lansdowne, and it's a very small bakery. But people go there to eat 1,000 rupee pastry. Why? Because it's the quality and the family has been passing that on since the colonial times. So yeah, brands they're everlasting, and of course they when the brand stops to last is when it stops to develop. So yes, there will be a time in future where we'll have maybe self-drying clothes will be there, self-cleaning outfits will come. So at that time, a bag will no longer be a necessity. So the brand has to develop itself. Like today, Video games on the phone is not a problem because you download everything from Play Store and App Store. So creating good games is no longer a requirement for a mobile phone company, but still the ones who have developed to Android and iOS are doing well, and the ones which are not ready to adapt are have already perished. So that's how my answer is going to that.
Yes, sir. Very true. When you are speaking about the Louis Vuitton, it goes to somewhere, the brand more than 150 years old. The reason of its being such a old and such a consistent is whatever you have explained in all the 8 points that works up. Though Louis Vuitton now no more exists, but in that case, the owner is no more in the world, but still he is remembered, he is still appreciated, and he is one of the ideal person when it comes to the particular brand industry of purses, handbags, everything, right, sir? And one last question regarding the same topic that we are already discussing about. People were asking about, can you share some tips for the brand building? Very short highlight points about how we can build up a brand.
Okay. Let's. I've already discussed in my presentation, but I'll do one, two, three now.
Yes.
First, I'll break down the thought leadership thing for you. TL. The thought leadership can be divided into three things. First, your writing skills. Okay. How much articles can you write? How many posts can you deliver on the social media, which are knowledgeable, of course. Second, the talks that you can deliver. Again, they have to be good, they have to be wonderful, but talks means there's a two-way communication. It could be a huge auditorium full of 1,000 people, but it has to be a talk between people. So if that's a talk, it could be a podcast as well. In today's world, podcasts are very popular, so you can give a podcast if required. Last but not the least are the media content, which is videos, articles in the newspaper, wherever you can get your hands on. So you can be a thought leader. And of course, once people start seeing you regularly in the news, media, on the internet, chances of your viability and your acceptance as a brand balloon beyond your understanding and expectation. Second, after being a thought leader, you need to have a clear idea of your service. What service and value proposition you're here to deliver? Because people come to this question quicker than you imagine that what do you do and what services do you provide? So you should have one, two, three, 4 points ready before that person asks you. Get into the room and know which person is about to talk to you. Have answers for them ready because you are the only marketer that is working for yourself, right? And last but not the least, one of the tips for your marketing and brand building is that create SOPs. As a CA, as a chartered accountant, create manuals and SOPs. I'll tell you what the biggest problem I face with the. I consult many CA firms on marketing, branding, and stuff. And my problem with the legendary CA firms today is that when I do client feedback rounds, which is one of the parts of my brand, brand consistency, and we do brand renovation too, like brand reinvention. So there are CA firms that I met, they're chartered accountants, three generations have worked for on the same city, and you find these legacy firms a lot of places in Mumbai and Gujarat, they're full of it. So what problems they are facing is that the clients who have been there for three generation and these people have been there for three generation, either today their complaint is that they are no longer developing to the requirements, or second issue is that they are no longer giving the services that used to be delivered in the time of X person. So what is the biggest parameter and problem here to the audience, whosoever has had that question, is that we do not have those manuals or SOPs that keep our services consistent. Even if we want to keep quality there, more than quality, once the quality has been established, the value becomes of consistency, including consistent growth. So have the firm manuals and your SOPs in place as a chartered accountant. Firm manual is a mandatory requirement of SQC 1 as well. Standard on Quality Control 1 of ICAI. Part of the, you'll find it on the ICAI's Audit and Assurance Board, I think, website. You'll find this SQC 1. It is available in Word and PDF, so you can go and back and read that. You'll understand what is standard on quality control. We, as a as a professional, no, Bhavi, I'm talking to you in person and rest of you guys in on web. We are very lucky that our institute does so much for us that to maintain the quality of assurance services, we have been given an entire standard. So if we just read and stick to it, I think we can deliver penultimate quality of assurance services, and of course make our clients happy with what we do. More than just more than just creating a facade, we can actually deliver quality services, but we have to commit to that quality, and that's all I think I can say about it. So these are three things: be a thought leader with writing, talks, podcasts, and of course media content. Have clarity of what you want to do and where do you want to reach and what person you want to target. And lastly, please focus on creating written dossiers and documents about your firm's functioning. I go to consult on brand management and I end up helping them with SOPs in CA firms, which has mostly happened. So that's one of the things that I can tell you. Yes, Bobby, I think that answer explains itself.
Yes, that was very true. And whatever you have mentioned is very correct, that on standards of quality, we have developed so many things. Even our Institute of Chartered Accountants have started giving up so many things. Now we have got chat GPTs on different sectors. Our ICAI is providing. We are providing with so many webcasts, webinars. We are providing with so many guidelines, SOPs. Our institute is working on each and every sector that brings up a professional excellence in for the members, for the students, as well as it is a huge providing a huge database for all those people who require our help, specifically in terms of financial guidance. Truly, we say we are the partners in nation building. We are definitely giving so many things. And sir, today, after you have highlighted so many things about the branding, specifically when we talk about our today's topic, more than a logo, we really have still so much of ground left where we can say that our students, our members, they can explore these opportunities. They can explore by truly saying that you need writing. Writing skills are very much important. As you said that you are ending helping people for brand developing. How many of our CA firms are having our SOPs ready for our own firms? That is also a very big question. But I think the next topic that we can definitely think on our enrichment committee webcast is about the SOPs of our CA office. We can discuss in detail that those who haven't known how to prepare, we can go for that topic. You have in fact given us a new topic for the webcast, sir. I think,
Yeah.
yes, sir, please, what I was saying.
No, I hope that creates a sense of knowledge, and wherever the knowledge is being increased, and I think we should be very thankful. I don't know how many institutions, big institutions, have such a committee where they are focusing on extra skills for their own professionals. And I think we should be thankful to the institution that we are a part of. Our alma mater is doing so much for us. All that we can do for ICI is be good chartered accountants. I think that's my own. Um, Conclusion of all the efforts that we make around the day, that all we can do for ICI is be good professionals. That's it.
Yes, sir, by delivering our consistent services.
Yes.
By upgrading our knowledge, by giving consistent services, we can be, right?
Yeah.
So, sir, now we are not left with any more questions. This was the last question that I posed. And now I would like to end up this session by winding up. And it was like a great honor to be a part of this wonderful webcast with you, sir. I've got a chance to be with you, interacting with you. And the topic that we have already discussed was more than a logo, the real skills behind great brands, organized by the Professional Skill Enrichment Committee, ICAI. On behalf of the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Sir C.A. Nakul Arora ji, who have highlighted our so many topics, and he has given us an insight on the session. We would have a wide round of applause for him, and thanks to the Professional Skills Enrichment Committee, ICAI, for giving us an opportunity to deliver on this topic. Along with C.A. Nakul Arora ji, I would like to even thank C.A. Jay Shera ji, Chairman of the Professional Enrichment Committee, Dr. Sambit Mishra ji, the tech team, and all the other fellow members and the stakeholders of this webcast team who have made this event memorable. So really, we'd spent 2 hours, but it was so good listening to you on all this topic. You were given a so simple guidelines about the things that now it makes it clear. Once this recorded webcast can be listened again so that we can have insight what we have left up on the particular topic. Finally, would like to thank all of you who are present here and helping to make us this webcast a grand success. Professional Development Enrichment Committee will see you soon with the next webcast. Thank you all for joining this evening. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.